Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I wanted to make a video today talking about how long it took me to make $1,000 on Redbubble. And unfortunately, the road isn't all roses and rainbows. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, rather, whatever it was, whatever the saying is. But I want to be transparent with y'all. And a lot of people who watch or consistently watch from last year, the year before, know kind of about my story. But I have a screenshot here on my website that I want to show you that reflects one of my very first stores. In fact, it was actually my third store, of a screenshot of how long it took me to get to $1,000 of income and on Redbubble. And this is, once again, my third store, so this is not my first by any means. My first store, I've told the story about this, is I've had over maybe 6,000 designs uploaded to it, and I just, essentially went ghost on it. I had departed from Redbubble as a platform, and this was way before I ever made videos on it, and I would just keep getting royalties every single month, The royalties would just keep piling in to the point where I forgot the email. I still have that account. I don't know what the email is of that account. You guys have to keep in mind that at the time, I had many different things going on. This was after I had sold the clothing company, after I had finished doing my part of the agency and sold that percentage that I owned. And I had many different businesses that I was starting up. This is where kind of my whole ideas behind passive income started brewing and started creating different things. So I had many different emails, and I just took an email, created an account, and it had, with a few months of work, over 5,000 designs. I think it was like somewhere close to 5,800. And that store is not what I'm showing you. I'm showing you the third store, which you're about to see, is the screenshot of how long it took me, like I said, to get to $1,000. And I'm not embarrassed to show this, and I actually keep this on my course front page, one of my screenshots. I have screenshots with much bigger, and I'll show you the screenshot in just a minute, but I want to explain how this came to be, because if you don't know the story behind how this started, then there's really no point of even watching this video. When I had kept making income from Redbubble, like I said, I was on this journey to get into generating real sources of passive income. And at the time, Redbubble was not what it is today by any means. It was not the world of Redbubble that it is today. The limits were different. The amount of competitors on the platform were different. Not really many people spoke about it. It was very rare on YouTube that people were speaking about this. So, maybe there was only a creator or two talking about it. And, it's not something that really caught fire. I think maybe last year, Redbubble is what really, really caught fire really hard on YouTube. And I think part of that was because of this YouTube channel. I remember I was posting 2 videos a day, uploading 60 designs a day to Redbubble every single day, back when it was allowed last year. And I told myself that I was going to keep doing it so that once I do it for a whole entire year and create 10 different stores, that I was going to sell off some of the stores, and with the new stores that are going to be created, that virtual assistants were going to take them over. And I did exactly what I said I would. You guys sometimes see the numbers, and like I said, the screenshots. I've shown screenshots before where I made over $13K from a store, and I had over 17 stores at the time, 12 of them being created just last year, 9 of those stores being sold for $179,000, and so a little bit of change. But the point is, let me go ahead and show you. So this is the web page of my Redbubble tagging SEO titling course. It's $40. That's not the point. The point is I have a screenshot down here. And this screenshot is not a fancy screenshot. This was in November of 29 from 2020 to 2021. So effectively, right now it's 2023. This first started in 2020. So 3 years on a third, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years and a half, whatever. The point is, this was a screenshot taken back when this was the third store. And there's a story behind this store that I really can only count a few times on my hand that I've done what I've did here. And I'll explain what I mean. Is that sometimes when I want to achieve something, I go monk mode. I've spoken about this before, very rarely, maybe 4 or 5 times in my life I've spoken about this on YouTube. But I call this monk mode. Some people will call it something else. It's essentially where I isolate myself for a number of months until I figure something out. And the whole inspiration behind this came from the series Vikings. If you're familiar with Bjorn Ironside, he was a character in Vikings who was a young man who wanted just to go out into the wilderness and live alone and prove himself to himself. And that's exactly kind of my bit. That's been my kind of story from the start, where my very, very first business that I ever started, I was told by my dad, well, not my parents, my mom passed away, but my dad, he told me, don't do it. It's a waste of time. My sister, I remember when she would see me working on the business, she would tell me, when are you just going to go get a real job? And this was, like I said, my very first business. I was in college. I was a freshman. And for me, it was do or die. I knew I wasn't going to be able to last in a corporate environment if college was anything like the corporate world. And I knew I had to get myself out of it. So, I would work every single day. And slowly but surely, 6 months in, I got my very first sale on my own business, on my own website. I still remember, like it was yesterday, $59 sale on a hoodie. And at that time, it was almost magic to me. I still kind of takes my breath away just thinking about it, because I remember seeing that $59 sale on the screen, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't. I thought there was a glitch on the screen. I thought maybe there's some sort of error. I refreshed the page a few times, and nope, it was still there. And it changed my life forever, because then at that point I realized now I'm not hoping anymore to get sales. I know that it's possible. And that's where my journey started. And 3 years after 3.5 to 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. Well, I think 4 years. 4 years? I don't know. Something like that. Maybe 4 years and a half. Yeah, 4 years and a half sounds more accurate. I then created, my very first Redbubble store. And then maybe a year or two later, I created this store. And the story behind the store is simple. This store, the first month, nothing. Obviously, you could see here November 20th. I think I joined maybe like November 29th or something on this store. I really don't remember the exact date. But December, I got lucky. January, I got lucky. Like I said, this was first mover advantage for the fourth quarter. Just creating a bunch of, honestly, they weren't amazing designs. I'm going to keep it real. And this is where, every piece of advice that I give you guys comes from a real life experience. I tell you guys, I've said this before, maybe 1,000 times. I've said, guys, you don't need to have amazing designs to get sales on Redbubble. You need to have buyable designs. And a buyable design is a design that's simply good enough. I'm not saying that because I'm some sort of loser, and I don't think that you should achieve the greatest success possible. I'm saying that because I'm being realistic, because when I look back at the work that I did, for example, on this store, and I created the sales that I created as I would say an amateur at this point in time, it was, I'm not going to say luck, but it was good enough to get the sales rolling. And you could see here the very first month, December 20th, I had over 300, a little bit over 300. Then you could see here a little bit over the last month, so a little increase. And then I just stopped. I just stopped uploading. I got lazy. Other things came in, and this was actually a period of time in my life where I felt like I had pushed and grinded a lot, and I was actually getting very mentally weak at this point in my life. This was my life was not revolved around Redbubble by any means. Redbubble was just a manifestation of what was going on in my life. I think at this point I had definitely graduated college. Maybe I was out of college for a year or two. I had maybe a year and a half even. I don't really remember. But I had grinded very, very hard. And I felt like I deserved some time off. I started thinking about the wrong things. To put it briefly, I was not who I was, pretty much. If I could tell you guys the type of person that I am, is I'm a go-getter. You know, I'm a hunter. You know, I love to achieve stuff. I love to go out and give myself challenges that could be sometimes painful, and I love achieving stuff. And so this is pretty much a manifestation of what was going on. And I remember the all-time low. I remember in June, it was an all-time low in sales. I think I just logged into the account after doing nothing, just waking up on a regular day, not working, not making, not focused. Money was coming in, but I wasn't focused. I had other, like I said, passive income businesses that I stopped working on, stopped grinding towards, and stopped pushing. The money was coming in, so I felt lazy, to put it to the absolute, and it's embarrassing to say. I know it's embarrassing, but, it's not, like I said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It was a dark place for me, and it was an embarrassing place, to be honest. And at this point, I said, you know what? Everything's going downhill in my life right now. This was in June, and I need to fix myself. It wasn't just this Redbubble store. It was all my other blogs that I had built up. I think at that point in time, I had about maybe 16 websites that I owned. 16, maybe like 28. Anywhere from 16 to 28, but I think 16. And at that point, I just felt like a loser. I felt like I was wasting everything away. And even as a loser, I spoke to myself and I said, I still remember this quote where I said to myself, oh yeah, I said to myself, oh yeah, now I know why celebrities start taking drugs and doing alcohol after they make a lot of money. And like a loser, I was just, I wasn't proud of who I was becoming. And basically what I was trying to do was assimilate myself to those celebrities, who go off the deep end. They work really hard in their success in the industry of TV, acting, singing, whatever. They become super successful, and then they go down the drain. And I told myself, I'm not going to allow myself to do that to myself. I'm not going to allow myself to be some sort of loser after achieving. And I mean, you guys could probably tell me 1,000 stories of people who maybe were doing so well in life, and then they just went down the drain. So I didn't want to end up like that. And so that's where monk mode kind of started. And I said to myself, I told everybody I know, which people that I talk, not everybody I know, but the people that I talk to on a daily basis, like my dad. And I told him and my sister at the time, and I said, I'm going dark. I'm going ghost. You're not going to be able to talk to me for the next few months. I'm going to take a cabin. I remember there was a cabin up north. I rented it on Airbnb for 3 months. And I'm not going to come back until I fix my life. And I remember that. And I left New York City just for 3 months, nothing crazy. And I actually stayed up there for a little over 2 months. I didn't even stay the full 3 months. And I came back a winner. And this was, like I said, in August is when I had my biggest month. And at this point, I said, okay, let me now work on other stores. And this is where you see a little drop here, which is really not a big deal, because the drop here, I had made other stores at this point in time. And this is where, like I said, that journey began of focusing really, really heavily now on creating different passive income businesses. And after August, there was effectively zero work done on this store, not out of being a loser, like I said, but chasing other stores, creating other assets. And I think at the point in time of November, I think when November is over, and like I said, guys, it's a little blurry because I'm looking back and there was a lot that went on, but I think at this point in time, I had 5 total active stores producing over $1,000 in income. Now, if you look at this, to answer your question, how long did it take me to make 1,000? I mean, depending on this store, if you look at this store, the first month was, let's just say 300, even though it was a little more. Let's just say, for the sake of the video, for this one here, maybe 375. I don't know. So that's 675 total. And then I don't know if you add all this up, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 months. I don't know. But I'm just going here to prove this point, is that you don't need 8 months to become successful. You saw I changed it all around in 1 month. I turned it around in 1 month, 1 month and a half maybe, depending on if you count the amount of time I stayed at that cabin in August. But there was nobody I talked to. I didn't go work out. I didn't go hang out with friends. I didn't watch TV. It was just me and my laptop, and I was doing work. That's it. That was the only thing I did. I didn't go get a breath of fresh air. I didn't go for a walk. From the moment I woke up to the moment I would go to bed, other than showering and eating and using the bathroom, I was working. And I studied Redbubble to the point where, almost like a scientist, I studied every single aspect about it, and I blew it up. And I think I did very, very well for myself overall, because this is a screenshot, like I said, not to show some crazy sales, because I have those screenshots. I do have screenshots of crazy sales. In fact, let me show you guys this screenshot here. First of all, let me show you this screenshot here. This is a screenshot that I had taken, and I wanted to do a video about this, but I completely had forgot to do a video at the time. And this was a screenshot that I found, and I made a post on it the other day. And I have many screenshots like this, but this is a screenshot, for example, of a store that took, I guess you could say, 3 months to get 70K. This is not crazy. Even though it has a low conversion rate, I'm not proud of that, but it is what it is. It's not perfect, but it's part of my journey. And my point is that, I have the fancy screenshots is my point. I could easily share them here. Some of the other videos I've shown stores, like I said, with 12K, other stores with 6, 7, 8, 10K, 12K in income on Redbubble. And like I said, I had over 17 stores at one point, and I took 9 of them, I sold them. And these are stores that, investors want to buy. And the point is, the point that I'm trying to share here is that I'm not sharing this to brag about money. There's not a lot of money here. What I'm sharing this for is to show you that you can turn your world around in a very short period of time if you focus, if you and honestly, the hardest thing now is not being successful in business. That's not the hardest thing. The hardest thing is starving yourself from distractions. There's so many distractions. I mean, the amount of distractions in this world now is worse than ever. I can't sit here and explain that enough. I think you guys probably know this. The apps, the TikTok, the YouTube Shorts, the what's the other app? Instagram. I mean, so many distractions. And you can change your world around. You can do a full 360 very, very quickly, especially if you have some sort of knowledge or some sort of base level experience in a certain field. To put things into perspective, after I made my very first sale with my clothing company, the first business, that $60 sale, the next 6 months, I had went from probably one of the lowest income generating people in America to maybe like the top 15% after those next 6 months. So within a full year period. And then the 8 months after that is then when I sold that business for a very large figure, which I've already said here, it's a large six-figure figure, which for me is a very large figure. I know some people might be listening to this, might be mega millionaires, who knows. Once again, I was like 21 years old when I sold it. So the point is you can change your world, man. If you just learn how to focus and you learn how to give extreme focus and cut out all distractions, regardless of what those distractions are. I remember I had a good friend that I was trying to share. This was before I had even started YouTube. And actually, my journey starting YouTube, I started YouTube after I had sold the company. I thought maybe I can make some videos explaining to people how I did it and how I became successful and all this, but it is what it is, whatever. Where was I going? Oh, I had a friend, and he was somebody I really cared about, and I wanted to see him do very well financially. But his life was too comfortable, and it was filled with distractions. And let me explain. He had a job. He worked a really good job at an advertising firm in pharmaceuticals, and he was an account executive, and he made maybe 60 grand a year, not a month, sorry, a year. He had a decent car. He had a nice girlfriend. He had everything taken care of for him. His dad would buy him, pay for stuff for him all the time. He didn't know how to save money. He was basically spoiled, and I hate to say this, but he was spoiled. And not in a bad way, but like he had a lot of blessings in his life, so that made him spoiled. And I don't judge him because I was there. Like I said, this is how my whole monk mode life kind of started. I go into these phases where I just give extreme focus to something for as long as it takes to get there, with certain things. And he had just a perfect life, and no matter how many times I would try to get him to focus or try to encourage him to do something, it just wouldn't work. And the reason why it wouldn't work is because his life was too good. He was distracted with his girlfriend, his car, his whatever. And for him, I don't judge him. His life was too good to walk away from. He couldn't go monk mode. He couldn't give up everything and just focus on himself. I remember he would tell me stories of like every weekend, as a guy who only makes 60K, which by the way, 60K is really good for average people. I mean, let's be honest. If you're an employee and you're like 28 years old and you're making 60K, it's not bad. It's really not bad. You're affording yourself a good life. And he lived at his dad's house, so he wasn't paying bills, and he didn't save any money. He spent it all, like literally all. He doesn't save money. One time he told me, I just want to be able to afford a wardrobe. And I'm thinking in my head, how much is a wardrobe? I know he likes to splurge. I know he likes to spend a lot of money. How much is a wardrobe? I'm thinking he's going to say something like $20,000. He looked at me and he said, oh, like $1,000. I said, $1,000? You could easily do that. He's like, no, I can't save money, whatever. And I told him, why can't you save money? He says, every weekend, me and my girlfriend, we go out, we drink, we party, we go to the most expensive restaurants in the city, here in New York City, and he blows all the money he makes. The point of this is that he had a perfect life. And sometimes your perfect life, that perfect salary, that perfect everything, is the chains that will shackle you to it and not achieve that greater, higher level of success. And sometimes it just takes it takes you yourself to be extremely disciplined on yourself and force yourself into a world of success. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable by any means, like zero. But you're going to have to do it if you want to get there. And the point with what I'm saying here is that you can do it. Now, the people listening, is everybody going to do it? No. That's just the sad reality, is that not everybody is going to become successful. Not everybody is going to become a winner at life. And it's not because they can't. It's because they won't. And that's the difference. And so instead of you guys looking at this video hoping for a certain number or how long it took me to make a certain amount on Redbubble, look at it as a method of, I guess you can say, instruction or motivation or strategy for your life. And put power into your own hands and realize that, in this world, probably nobody's going to come save you. You're not going to have that uncle or that father, or some of you might be lucky enough to have that. But I know I didn't. And I can tell you most people don't, where they have that person that comes in their life and just says, here, let me show you how it's done. And honestly, I tried to be that for my friend Matt, the guy who I just told you about with the making 60K a year. I tried to be that for him. Even though he was older than me at the time, he still is obviously older. I mean, he's older than me. The point is that I tried to be that for him. I wanted to be the person that takes him out of the situation he is. But I realized the same way that I built it all for myself, the same way everybody else is going to have to do the same for themselves too. It doesn't matter what resources you give them. It doesn't matter what knowledge you give them. It doesn't matter what power you give them. It doesn't matter. They have to do it themselves, and there's nobody going to come to save them. And I don't have a crazy motivational message for you guys. I'm just sharing reality. And like I said, this is not sunshine and rainbows. I didn't just, put it this way. You can get lucky, but you're not going to stay lucky. And this is a perfect example of that. This screenshot doesn't show a lot of money here. I could easily just pop on the screen my $179,000 check that I got when I sold those 9 stores, or the the store that I have that I think generated, in 1 year maybe $13K, and then like another 8 stores did something close to that. I could easily show that, but that's not inspiring. That doesn't help. What helps is when you hear a story of somebody who got lucky, because that's exactly what I did, and then I got lazy, and then I became a loser, and unfortunately that's what a loser is. And I have to admit where I was, where you have an opportunity in your hand and you waste it all away. And that's what I was doing, and I didn't want to become that. I told myself that it's too early for me to lose. I can't do that, and I had been losing for quite a while, and my personality was shifting. I was not the person I wanted to become. And I still remember when I wasn't making much money in the very beginning with that clothing business, the very first clothing business I ever created. I still remember every single night, even though I was making much money at all, and in the beginning I wasn't making any. I would go to sleep at night. Sometimes it would be 4 a.m. or maybe 6 a.m, and wake up 2 hours later. But I would go to bed every night feeling fulfilled, feeling that I did my work for today, and I had a hope and a belief that maybe if I keep doing this every day, eventually. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I burped. Not professional, but whatever. Eventually, one day, something's gonna change. I'm gonna get a breakthrough one day, and I for sure had that breakthrough 6 months later. Like I said, that very first sale, it changed my life. It shifted my. It was an unbelievable experience. I can't describe that enough, but. That was all I needed. That was all the gas I needed to move forward. So hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully it's inspiring. And more importantly, hopefully it helps you guys out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys later, and peace out. Bye.